Have you ever noticed that some sales conversations feel exhausting, but others don't even feel like sales? One feels like you're trying to convince someone, but the other feels like you're simply helping them decide what they should do next. What's the difference? Trust. Thought leadership is one of the fastest ways to build trust before you ever have your first conversation. So if you're wondering how to do this and why thought leadership plays a role, this episode is for you. So to illustrate this, I'm going to paint two very different pictures. Okay, so scenario one, imagine you're watching a video on YouTube, and then right in the middle, an advertisement interrupts you. You didn't ask for it, right? You weren't looking for this ad. Maybe it's even relevant or maybe it's not. But either way, you were just interrupted, you're irritated, and immediately your defenses go up. You know that someone is trying to sell you something. Even if you're the ideal customer, the relationship here starts with skepticism. Now let's take it a step further and say this advertiser interrupts enough people that they start to generate leads. Now, when they have conversations with these people, they have to work really, really hard to overcome objections. They have to build trust. They have to tear down that barrier of skepticism. So these sales conversations are very draining, and we don't ever look forward to them. Okay, so now let's compare this to scenario two, something that's completely different. Imagine your dream client is online searching for help. They don't know that you exist. They simply have a question. So they search on YouTube, or they search on Google, or they search in ChatGPT, and then they find one of your videos recommended to them. Again, not because you interrupted them, but because you're simply answering the exact question that they're asking, and you don't pitch them. There's no pressure. You're simply just helping them answer their question and find a solution. So they leave thinking, this is exactly what I needed. And a few days later, they have another question. They search again and they find you again. So they begin thinking, wow, this person is everywhere. And he was really helpful, or she was really helpful. I wonder what services they offer. See, this is how trust can really begin in a valuable way. It's not because you're telling people that you're an expert, but they've experienced your expertise. That's why I teach helping before selling. Before someone visits your website or downloads a free resource, before they schedule a consultation, they've already spent time with you, they've already learned from you, they've already begun trusting you. And so you can see how it's a complete different scenario to trying to convince people to trust you once you've annoyed them and interrupted them. To me, thought leadership is like getting the world's best referral. Think about how powerful referrals are. When a trusted friend says, you've got to talk to this person, some of that trust transfers to you immediately. Now, search works in a surprisingly similar way. Someone searched for help, the search engine or answer engine recommended you, you helped them. Then it recommended you again and again. Well, over time, the search engines themselves become part of this referral process. That's why being found repeatedly matters. One video is obviously very helpful, and when they see you in 5 different places for 5 different questions, that's really convincing too. If they see you at the top of YouTube, the top of Google, these AI tools are recommending you, you become the obvious authority. Now, I want to talk about testimonials. Do I believe in testimonials? Okay, absolutely. They're incredibly valuable, but not at the beginning. When someone's never heard of you before, a testimonial doesn't mean much yet. They don't know you. They don't know the people that are giving testimonials. Testimonials become very powerful after trust has already started developing. So that's why I love putting testimonials on landing pages, on your website, near the point where someone is deciding whether to work with you. Now, we can also talk about case studies. They're extremely valuable once trust has begun. Case studies take trust deeper. They demonstrate that you're not just knowledgeable, but you're experienced, and they can better see how you might be able to help them. And there's a big difference between someone who understands a subject and someone who has repeatedly helped people achieve results. That's what case studies prove, so let me give you a few examples. I'll introduce you to 3 people. The first person I want to introduce you to is Reagan Archibald. He's a men's health and a peptides expert. So Reagan has built a very successful company. They're very knowledgeable. They have a lot of health practitioners, and they have a lot of expertise and experience in peptides and helping people with their health. When we met just a little over a year ago, they had a small group of clients that were really coming from referral and word of mouth. Fast forward to today, and just because of the content that we've created that is now searchable online and them now owning several categories of peptides. When people are searching online, they're finding Reagan's videos. They've now added several seven figures of revenue to their business. Instead of just being known by their local audience and those referrals, now they're known nationally and even globally. The next person I want to introduce you to is Nicolene Peck. She is a parenting expert, and we've created hundreds and hundreds of parenting videos. Before we did this, she had a lot of influence locally, just in a local community. She would speak at an event, generate referrals, and she would have clients from that. But now that we've built such a massive online presence and she dominates so many parenting categories online, she is a recognized thought leader in parenting. And not only does she have more clients hiring her, but she's had countries fly her out to train their people on this parenting approach so that their whole country can implement it. My third example is in a complete different industry. Let me introduce you to Stan, the annuity man. He makes a really boring subject very cool. All right, now, he came to me several years ago and he said, I want to brand myself as Stan the Annuity Man. I want to be America's annuity agent. And he had a successful insurance agency selling annuities, but he wanted to go bigger. So he tried a whole list of things. He hired me for my leaf strategy and producing his YouTube videos. He did a podcast. He did advertising. He submitted articles to big publishers. He did a whole bunch of other things on social media and other types of advertising and PR. Well, fast forward a few years, we just had a conversation and he said, Nate, all of these things were just busy work, but it's YouTube that helped make me the #1 annuity agent in America by 4 times. Yeah, he's #1 by 4 times. So these are examples of how this strategy works and how it's different than a typical marketing campaign. We're not just interrupting people, but we're helping them and we're building trust that generates referral quality leads. Now here's something else that I've learned. The fastest way to destroy trust is to make everything about yourself. Your accomplishments, your business, your products, your success. Trust grows when people feel that you genuinely care about them, that you understand their problems, that you're focused on helping them. Whether they ever become a client or not, people can feel that. They can respond to it. So one other thing that I want to talk about is sales. I know a lot of people who hate selling. When they picture sales, they picture pressure or closing techniques or handling objections. To them, sales is all about convincing someone to buy something, and nobody enjoys that. But conversations with referred clients feel completely different. You're not trying to convince them that they need your help. They already know that they need help, and you're simply figuring out whether you're the right person to help them. And that difference is exactly what thought leadership creates. Instead of interrupting strangers, you're attracting people who already trust you. Instead of overcoming objections, you're answering questions. And instead of convincing, you just clarify. To me, that's why trust matters so much. Not because it makes sales easier, but it changes the entire relationship before the conversation ever begins. So what thought leadership is really building is not followers, not views, not fame. It's building trust. So with that understanding about how important trust is, the next question is, how do you actually build that kind of trust online? It doesn't happen by accident, and it doesn't happen just by posting more content. It starts with creating content that your dream clients are already searching for and systematically becoming the most trusted source of answers in your category. So that's exactly what I cover in the next episode. Thought Leadership starts here. I'm going to walk you through the framework I use to help experts become discoverable, build trust before they ever sell, and position yourself as the obvious authority in your industry. I'll see you in the next episode.